Good morning, boys and girls. For our literacy work today, I thought we could look at a story. But before we do that, I wonder if the busy bees can remember what letter it was we were looking at yesterday. Maybe if I gave you a clue with the action it went. That's right, it was the letter B. And this is what the bell looks like. Remember, it's important that we draw the bat first and then the ball. Bat and then the ball. And that's the B sound. Can you try the action again with me? So we say B, 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 B. And that's why I've chosen this book to look at today. Maybe if you have a look at the title with me, you'll see why I've chosen it. Can you see this is the big letters down here? That's the title of our story. And it's called Billy's Bucket. Did you hear? It's got our sound in it. It's got two capital B's. B, B for Billy's Bucket. Now, if we look at the other clues on the front cover, let's have a look at the pictures. What do you think might happen in our story today? I think Billy looks very excited to be looking inside his bucket. Sometimes I might use a bucket to do some cleaning. Maybe to clean the windows or to clean the car. But I don't think Billy would be looking quite so excited if he was using it to do some cleaning. What else could he be using it for? Sometimes you might take a bucket to the beach, maybe to make some sand castles, or if you go to the rock pools, you can collect some shells, maybe see some crabs. Maybe that's what Billy's going to use his bucket for. Maybe he's going to the beach. What do you think? Will we have a look inside and find out what happens? Here we go. Can I have a bucket for my birthday? Asked Billy. Billy's dad looked up from his newspaper. A bucket? You don't want a bucket for your birthday. Nobody has buckets for their birthday. Oh, why don't they? Asked Billy. Because, Billy explained his mum, buckets are far too buckety to be a birthday present. Oh, poor Billy. But Billy wouldn't be persuaded. Please, can I have a bucket? He asked. Have a bike, said his dad, or some new trainers, said his mum, or even a computer game. Oh, but I want a bucket, said Billy. All right, said Billy's dad. You can have a bucket for your birthday. Yippee! Shouted Billy. Wonder if you've ever asked for a bucket for your birthday? The next day, Billy and his mum and dad went to Buckets R Us. There were buckets of buckets at Buckets R Us. Rubber buckets, plastic buckets, metal buckets, garden buckets, farm buckets, builder's buckets, seaside buckets, and even football buckets. Wow. Billy's mum and dad followed Billy up and down every single aisle. What sort of bucket are you looking for? They asked. I don't know, said Billy, but I'll know when I see it. Wow, this shop really does have every kind of bucket in it. Wonder which one you would choose. Billy looked long and hard at every single bucket on every single shelf. There it is, he shouted excitedly. That's the one I want, right up there. It's 19 shelves up and 78 along from the left. Billy's mum and dad got someone to help them. Well, they all look the same to me, said the shop assistant. No, that one's special, said Billy excitedly. Look, they even took their dog shopping with them. This is a good shop. When Billy got home, he ran straight into the kitchen and filled his bucket with water. Maybe he is going to do some cleaning. Why else would he fill his bucket with water? What do you think? Whoa, said Billy, peering inside his bucket. I can see a rock pool with crabs and seaweed and little shrimpy things. Of course you can, Billy, smiled his dad. They're not coming to have a look. Wowee, said Billy. I just saw a shark. Huh, of course you did, Billy, laughed his mum. Oh, it's a strange thing to say. They're not coming to look. Guess what I've seen now, said Billy, sitting down for his birthday tea. I've seen a stingray and some clownfish and a whole shoal of barracuda, and I think I've seen a mermaid, but it might just have been a big herring. Ha! Of course you have, Billy, laughed his dad. But Billy carried his bucket to the lounge. Why is his dad laughing at him? Do you think he believes him that he's got all these things in his bucket? What's in your bucket at the moment, Billy? Chuckled his dad. 2 submarines and a pilchard, said Billy. Ha! What's in your bucket now, Billy? Giggled his mum. Well, 7 sea lions and a walrus, said Billy. Ha! Of course there are, Billy, laughed his mum and dad. They're still laughing at him. Billy was still staring into his bucket at bedtime. Billy's dad nudged his wife and winked. Billy, is it all right if we borrow your bucket to mix up some wallpaper paste tomorrow? Billy looked up from his bucket and frowned. Can you frown? No, it isn't. There are dolphins in my bucket at the moment. You must never borrow my bucket. Billy's mum waited a few moments and winked at her husband. Billy, is it all right if we borrow your bucket to water the roses with tomorrow? Billy looked up from his bucket and shook his head. There are 2 scuba divers in my bucket at the moment. You must never, ever borrow my bucket. Oh, he's very serious. Billy's dad chuckled to himself and waited a few more moments. Billy, is it all right if I borrow your bucket to clean the car tomorrow? Billy looked up from his bucket and sighed. No, it isn't all right. There's a coral reef in my bucket at the moment. You must never, ever, ever borrow my bucket. Do you think they're listening? What an imagination, laughed Billy's mum and dad. Time for bed. Billy put his bucket away and went upstairs. Thanks for a lovely birthday, he said, and the best present in the whole world. Really likes his bucket, doesn't he? When Billy woke up the next morning, he got dressed quickly and ran downstairs to play with his bucket. But it wasn't there. Oh no, what's happened to Billy's bucket? Where has it gone? Do you think you know? I told you not to borrow my bucket, said Billy. Look what's happened. I think his dad might have tried to borrow it, and now there's a huge whale in their street. It took Billy's mum and dad 6 hours, 3 fire engines, 4 cranes and a shoehorn to get the whale back in the bucket. And they never borrowed Billy's bucket ever again. See them all having a little look now. All looking into Billy's bucket. Some fantastic things in there. And that's the end of the story. I wonder how well you were listening. Do you think you could answer some questions? Let's start with our actions. Can you remember this one? We say who. Can you remember who was in the story? We know Billy was in the story. Who else was in the story? You think? Here's my next question. Are you ready? Why did Billy's mum and dad give him a bucket? Why did he get a bucket? You remember why? Let's try another question. What did Billy's mum and dad do when Billy told them what was in the bucket? What did they do? Did they believe him? How do you know they didn't believe him? last question, will we put our hands like this and we'll do this one this time? Where was Billy when his dad borrowed his bucket? He told him never ever to borrow the bucket, but where was Billy? Can you remember? Now for my last question, I wondered if you could draw me your answer. I wonder what would be in your bucket. Imagine you've been to that special bucket store and you've picked out your very own magical bucket. What are you going to keep inside? I can't wait to find out. So draw me a picture of what you would have inside your very own magic